call this meeting to order. Is there any public here? You have any comments or questions on anything on the agenda items, ma'am?
No, I don't.
Alrighty. Hearing none, moving on. Approval of the minutes from February. Did everyone get those?
There are copies of the minutes up here if anybody doesn't have them. Y'all have?
Everyone have them? Okay. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made by Huntington and seconded by Manowan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you. Old business. I guess we'll start out with talking about the truck. I think that was the biggest concern. I sent out an email earlier from when Josh and I was finally able to get together. His busy schedule's crazy, so did everyone get a chance to read the email that I sent out with the truck stuff? I didn't see any comments come back on that. Is there comments that we want to talk about further on the truck? Did I answer the questions, I guess, that some of you had? I think Dominic had some questions. Did I answer most of the questions you had? All right. Yes, sir. Josh, good job on that, buddy.
Oh.
So I guess at this time, is there discussion about everyone taking this to their Board of Supervisors to vote on at this time, if all questions have been answered? If we want to continue to entertain this idea? As of right now, I think the truck will be located at Tyrone for now, because it just seemed like it was out of the question for what Biggerville Fire Department wanted, so.
Jared, thanks for working on that. That was a lot.
Yeah.
That day was a lot.
Yeah. How many townships have already voted on this? I guess that should be a question. None sitting here to move forward on it? Okay, that includes us.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I guess at this time, what I would need for each township to do is consider this and take it to their meeting, I guess this month's meeting. Biggerville met last night, so I guess they're...
Do we know if they took action on it?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I can call Rob.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that urgent. I mean, the rest of us are gonna be a month behind.
Yeah.
And let me check real quick to see if that's on our agenda for tomorrow night.
I don't think it was.
I don't
either.
believe it was, but let me just double check.
I didn't remember seeing
No.
that, so.
Then you may have
In
to.
old business?
It's not.
Oh, they
you may
should
have
took
to
it off
push
old
to
business.
two.
Okay.
You might have to push it to Tuesday based on 24-hour notice.
Yeah.
We will. We'll probably have to push it into our workshop,
Yeah,
which
we'll
is
put
2
it on a
weeks.
workshop,
Yeah.
so. Is there any questions or comments on taking this to your boards now? Each municipality will have to vote on this as a yay or a nay.
And we're voting on exactly what, so I'm sure, on the purchase of the truck.
Again, the purchase of the truck is owned by Tyrone, so
Okay.
that part of the equation's out. The biggest concern or question now is everyone on board with pursuing to utilize this truck that Tyrone has?
Okay.
And equipping it with the stuff that it may need to be equipped with and the maintenance and the items that I sent out earlier, so,
Okay, got it. Thank you.
okay.
Maybe we ought to explain what the expenses are going to be.
As Josh and I talked, the expenses, is that part of this? No. I printed that out and it's laying on my desk. The biggest expenses is probably gonna be, oh, look at this young lady here, she is on
that
it.
it?
On it.
She is on it, yes, thank you. It looks like the normal stuff is gonna be like your insurance and maintenance, which we figure is probably gonna be $2,500 a year to insure and keep the maintenance up on this truck. Equipment's probably gonna be a one-time cost that will be split between all approving municipalities. We figured that would be, and we're rough guessing this at 2,000, because a lot of stuff we're hoping we can get from either some fire departments that's replacing older stuff with newer stuff, or Josh or anyone sitting here actually has the
Federal
ability to go
surplus
to the
warehouse, too.
federal surplus place in Harrisburg. And they most of the time have every
They
single
have-
thing
they
you
have-
need
I
on
was just
here.
there 2 days ago, and they have a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Internet is one of the big things, and that's just so when you're out on some of these sites, you'll be able to set up and communicate and back and forth with whomever and whatever agencies need to be on that site. I was actually at a meeting, and I was hoping that Nina would be here last week at 911 Center, and Warren talked about actually this truck a little bit on some incidents and calls, and where he thought this was definitely a worthwhile purchase and a thing to pursue, because the county is definitely not responsible for these incidents. It is the municipality. The county will only respond if they are asked to come and assist, but that's the only thing they're going to do is assist. They're not going to take over the scene, they're going to run the scene, they're going to answer whatever questions need to be answered, and it's up to each municipality then to handle that situation, so.
Was that a change in his attitude? I didn't think he was behind the truck from word go.
Like I say, I was wishing Nina would be here. She would definitely agree with what I just said. It kind of shocked me too, and I did talk to him a little bit afterwards then, just to reconfirm what he was saying. So, and I think what's happening is they're finding out that these municipalities need something like this to operate in areas out and about like what we have, each one of us sitting here have. Okay? You're not going to be able to have a building to go to and operate out of to control the scene. And I think some of the later incidents that's happened has kind of proved that with the collapse of buildings and things of that nature, which Josh is able to talk more about because he was involved in those, so.
Warren was very supportive of it at that incident, I
Right.
can tell you that. I mean,
So-
because it was there by dumb luck, and it worked into exactly what they needed it to.
Right. That meeting that night was more of a borough, instead of a township meeting, it was a borough cog meeting. But then he also then, like I say, went into some of the stuff that 911 does and some of the stuff the EMA is required to do. So yes, he's definitely in favor of this. So. And then graphics is the other thing. If we want to put the NAREMA signage and stuff on this truck so it's identified when it's pulling onto a scene, it's probably a smart thing to do, even though they would know we are responding via radio. It's still nice that most of these fire police are looking for something on the side of a truck to identify who they are. So Josh and I talked about that and thought that was something that would definitely be worthwhile to entertain that as well. And then the fuel, again, is what we've talked about numerous times here. Wherever that incident is, that municipality would then refuel that truck to where it was when it was picked up or used. So that's pretty much everything that Josh and I spoke about into detail. And I think that was all the questions that come from this board onto that. So is there any other questions you had?
To explain your note.
Okay. All right. So again, it's up to each one of you guys now to take that back to your boards this month and start that conversation and see if you want to move forward. So, okay. I think that, slide that back to her, Chris, before I stick it in my side. Thank you. Again, the Victorville thing just seemed to me a little bit definitely excessive for what we were going. I don't think no one sitting here was entertaining building a building for Victorville Fire Department, so.
Yeah.
I got a couple no's pretty quick on that, so.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were interested in it either,
Yeah,
from the chief's observation. I think the people from Biggerville were, but the chief of the fire company he was way out.
well, I think I'm not 100% sure on that, but I thought, the way I took it, if he got this, and he was okay with it, so. Okay, that's all on the truck that I have, and I guess the next time we meet, we'll decide if it's definitely a NAREMA thing, so. Any other old business that I may have missed? Hearing none, seeing none, we're opening the floor up to Jed under new business.
Thank you very much. Some time ago, a copy of the emergency plan was distributed to the townships and copies to all relevant personnel. Some of the townships have told me they voted on it and approved it, and some of them I haven't been in contact with on that issue. So this is a legal document, so I will be in contact in the near future with various townships that have not approved the plan, or at least have not told me they have approved the plan.
Right, and to jump on board with what Jeb's saying, Again, Warren that night at that meeting discussed this pretty much in depth as well. If this plan is not in place and it's not adopted, we are not eligible for funds. If you don't have these plans, you can't tag into the county for their funding sources if an event would happen. So they're very important documents.
So I'll be checking all this out, checking off boxes in the next week or so to make sure. And there's nothing really in the plan that people can't approve because it's just a continuation of and an enhancement of previous work. So I don't foresee any problem other than maybe inertia. So we'll get the inertia solved if appropriate and move forward. Now, talking about the plan for a minute. We talked about incidents. The best way to address an incident is not to have it. And if we do have an incident, the next best thing is to be prepared for it. So PEMA and FEMA are very clear that in many cases, various organizations need to have emergency plans in place. And a large number of them do, but to put this into perspective, the school systems have to have an emergency plan in place and practice it. And so that's something we check on. Similarly, nursing homes, gotta have a plan in place. Daycare centers, gotta have a plan in place. Utilities, and we have a number of utilities, they're very small, but nonetheless, if your sewer or water goes out, that's an emergency, gotta have a plan in place. So I check on these, a variety of organizations to make sure that they do have emergency plans in place. Not because they don't, but just because we need to check every year to make sure that everything's working. In other words, the reason we check on parachutes is not because we want to use them, but just in case we need one, do you have one? So I'm in the process of making an annual check on the parachutes, so to speak, the plans. And an important question is not just do these folks have plans in place, but rather also, who have we missed? Not trying to harass anybody, but if you've got a whole bunch of problems, potential problems, we will all feel much better if we know that you also have a bunch of potential responses. So in the next couple of weeks, I will be contacting each of the secretaries or administrators for the boroughs and townships to ask them to check with their road crews as to, is there anybody that people think we need to add in terms that I need to contact or that need to be contacted. Similarly, I will be checking with our deputies and working with them in terms of, here's the list that we've got. Are there organizations that we need to add to that to check, are there plans in place? Because quite frankly, we want to have the parachutes there just in case there's a problem. So that's one aspect of the plan that's going to go underway in terms of implementation. In conjunction with that, I'm going to check with the deputies and see if we can all get together at some point. I'm going to recommend that my house is probably as convenient as any place, since that's a place we could have snacks. And snacks and donuts and who knows what else. I was always interested if people have that opportunity. So going to contact the deputies and see if there's some evening or whatever that we can get together to discuss plan implementation. And talking about implementation, if we have a problem, we all ought to be on the same page, so to speak, about what we're going to do, how we're going to respond. We all have lists of various things that we need to know and who's going to do what and so forth. So that's certainly one of the things I want to discuss with deputies as we move forward. Heaven help us if we ever have a really big one, but who knows, there could be something. So we want to make sure that everybody's on board in terms of how we're going to handle things, because at least for some of the emergencies, the smaller emergencies, we are, as they say, on our own. Now we know there's a nice railroad line connecting two of the main lines, and if we should ever have one of those cars go over, and heaven help us if they do, but if one of those cars ever does go over, we want to be there first, although quite frankly, we will be calling for a lot of assistance if a car with an obnoxious chemical goes over. And I don't expect that to happen, but then emergencies are the things you don't expect to happen. So I want to be prepared just in case we have somebody with a Sarah chemical situation or other types of situation, so that everybody's on board. So hope to talk to people about that. Want to check also on one minor issue. I haven't had any trouble getting through police lines with NAREMA identification. But to be professional, we probably all should be wearing some sort of vest that says NAREMA on it. And initially I thought maybe a coat, but then we got a summer coat, a winter coat, a fall coat, so it's just a loose vest or something that can go over. And of course, it checked out the prices. Jeff and I have been checking out the prices and the quantities and the availabilities and so forth. And clearly, I don't think everybody's going to want to wear a vest. I suspect that for law enforcement people, they can't. They're in uniform, and I doubt that law enforcement person would want to wear a NAREMA vest because it might impede access to law enforcement equipment. But for those of us that are not carrying law enforcement equipment and are not wearing a township vest, if they want to wear a township vest, we need to get it together. This is not a major expenditure of funds. If you think something under $50 is not major. If you think it is, then it's major. So try to resolve that pretty quickly, get something ordered.
How many of those you looking at
Well,
purchasing?
theoretically, we have 6 deputies.
Okay.
And one of our 6, at least one of our 6, is legally a law enforcement person, and I doubt that he would wear a vest. Because he's,
I do have one.
you do have,
Yeah, I do have one, I've worn it. Anytime that there's drivers, I try to put one on because legally it looks a whole lot better if I get hit by a car that I can say I had a vest on. So I do have one and I just modified it so I can get tools if I need tools.
fine.
But
So,
yes.
so I suspect you will probably stick with that, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. That's-
So
that's-
we're talking 4 to 5.
What
And-
does it say on it?
Mine just a complete
Yeah,
under.
so we're talking about.
Yeah, he's talking about
That's
having
for
one.
identification,
Yeah.
not for safety, whatever, but, because the one I went on, the fire chief asked, who was I? Very politely. But, you know, I got nothing. This county doesn't have ID. We don't have
We're working on
pictures.
that. We are working on that for you guys.
Someone's working on it.
ID.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, it
I
looks-
thought Tammy was already
She does.
good to go.
She does. Here's what it comes down to. It'll look something similar to this one. I have one for,
She didn't seem too interested a couple weeks ago.
well, here's why the interest level was down. They no longer make, The IDs.
They don't have the machine.
I don't know if they got the machine taken back or if it's just not online anymore. They were hesitant 6 months ago because they thought the machine was gonna be taken. But I haven't been up there in a couple of days to see if the machine's still there. If it's still there, we might be able to slide some through quick. The problem is once they're out, it may go away. You may never be able to get another reissue because they're gonna take that machine at some point. And she's already made it clear, like even with us, like, I don't know how many more I'm gonna be able to do. We're running out of the cards. They no longer make the cards, so they're kind of holding on to what they're housing, so. So once they either get another machine, or if I can sweet talk her into getting 6 or 7 of them made, what I would just need is what I did for our guys, just need a photo of you, and they'll implement them onto those cards.
But for the IDs, I think all of us were supposed to actually get the IDs.
I thought so too.
The vest would just be for your deputy,
Yeah,
most
correct.
likely, so.
I'll follow up.
So we need to
with-
definitely continue pursuing
I'll
that.
follow up with Tammy this week.
The
yeah.
vest, I say, there's no question, that should be definitely ordered, so.
we'll get on that. And the vest thing, I hope we can get that all resolved in a week, in a few days. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. The only reason to have the vest really is just so that when we go to one of these sites, you know, everybody's hanging out, so to speak, and they say, who are you? So
Are they the high vis with the reflective?
To be determined. What do
Okay.
you like?
They should
I
be
would
both.
prefer that because then it serves kind of a dual purpose with recognizing,
Green,
you know, who
red,
you are,
blue, yellow.
but safety as well.
I think we were, I would say we discussed that at the deputies meeting, or is that for everybody?
I hope to have a deputies meeting within the next couple of weeks, and the vests no later than that.
Okay.
Josh, is there a requirement on the color?
Not as far as color, there is requirements out for high vis, like you were
Right,
talking about,
definitely
for
want that.
scenes. You gotta have, and I'll get the measurement, there's a measurement of the high reflective, whatever. It's just like the cones, right? Cones now have a legal mandate to have
Well,
high vis.
when Piedmont has an event,
Correct.
they're just wearing yellow or yellow-green, what color?
Yeah, so they actually break it down pretty interesting. I was just at their MassCAS event, and they broke it down, different vests for different areas of operation. And so theirs is gonna be a little different than what we do. Our area operation is really not gonna matter. We're there, I would say something on the back that says who we are, maybe some sort of print that says NAREMA, something like that. But we're not breaking it down between red, yellow, green, and blue. Their red, yellow, green, and blue all mean something different in their much larger pictures.
I would
So-
think the yellow, lime, green, whatever.
The green high vis with the reflective on, and I go back to the incident on 15 with the tar truck. You know, that was, you were right along a 2-lane highway there with,
Correct.
you know, advertised 65-mile-an-hour speed
Yeah.
limit, so at that point, I'd like somebody, just something reflective if we're out there in the middle of the night, that's all.
Correct.
I mean, honestly, those things, you know, I mean, you buy them at Lowe's for a little bit of nothing. I think if we get one maybe a little higher quality with the NAREMA logo on the back, then you're still probably under $50. I can't
Oh,
imagine that
I'm
thing
sure.
costing that much.
It's
Yeah.
the printing.
Yeah,
Right, right.
$7 to $15.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
The company that I would deal with is Uline, but there are
Mm-hmm.
there are others.
We use them
And
at work.
they'll print for a price.
Okay.
Right.
And this is not a big deal, it's just a question of specifying it and getting people moving forward.
No, well, I think, is everyone in favor of letting these guys pursue that and getting this done ASAP?
Okay, so anyway, I will shortly be able to discard my orange vest, which I've been wearing, and go to lime green, a much better, much nicer color. So,
It works.
okay, so that's basically all that I've got right now, and as I said, I'm going to try and find a date that we can get deputies together and hash out a few things.
Can I get a motion to have Jeb and to move forward on getting these? Dominic and then Josh. All right. Motion's been made and seconded to let Jeb proceed in getting these ordered. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Who made the
Any opposed?
motion and who seconded it?
Dominic and then Josh second.
He made it, I seconded it.
Yeah, whatever we need to keep these people safe, we definitely need to. And also to proceed in the identification of the ID cards. Either
I'll
can
follow up
be
with an email.
a lanyard or something that clips on one or the other, so. Because you never know when one of us may need to show up and their little fireman's gonna wanna see something.
Do you have an ID?
Not for this.
No, we did pictures with
We did pictures.
Kevin right before he backed out, so,
Yeah, we got pictures, but I mean, do you have the card?
no,
They never got no further.
no.
That
it-
should not be,
Okay, that could be.
that should not be the equivalent of a moonshot. I mean, these are very simple to make.
I would think
We'll
so.
check in.
I wonder if Staples or somebody like that doesn't have this capability. Surely somebody online could do
Right.
this.
Uline can do them.
Well, I mean, I think we could go to Staples or something. When we put these
Steal
IDs
accounting out of
together,
it.
we are asserting who we are. It's not that we're
Correct.
saying that the county is.
Right, we're not counting.
We're just-
It's a simple
we're-
form of
we're
ID.
NAREMA. We made our ID.
Right.
So
Once the company
we will definitely resolve.
Okay.
And they just have to-
Anything else for you, sir?
That's it right now.
Okay.
Other than to say, you know, the big deal now, in addition to the vests and the IDs, big deal is to decide what we're going to do in the event of an emergency, everybody on board. And the other thing is documentation of,
Right. And again, that's between you and your deputies when you have those meetings, so. I mean, if you want to let us know when those meetings are, if someone would want to sitting here would want to show up, they can show up at those meetings. And again, you're more than welcome to use our township building, whatever you would need to do, or some of these other ones probably, I'm sure. So,
Check it out.
but if you want to host it at your house, you know, have
Well,
your
I
wife
think,
making
yeah,
snacks, you know, we
might
might
well
all
have-
show up, but.
Might as well have,
Where it's all in.
might as well have, we'll have an incentive to show.
There you go.
There you go.
I like that. Are you having a good response out of your deputies?
We're in contact.
Good, good. That's awesome. So Jeff, it sounds like you're working really close with Jeff on some of this stuff, so I appreciate that. That's not bad. Yeah, good. Okay. And again, just to go back to what Warren said at this meeting that night, he really emphasized on the trainings that we should be having, these OS 1s, 2s, and 3s, I think it is. That
100, 200,
Yes.
375.
Yeah, that they're actually requirements that
Yeah.
any township supervisor should actually have. It's not a requirement of NAREMA, it's a requirement of the township. So, has anyone got those? You don't count, you probably already got yours. And Josh has his. Dominic, you have all yours? Okay. I think he's saying the 1, 2, 3, and
So I
400
have-
series, and 7 and 800 are optional.
There's 7 and 8, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 75, 7, 8. And
You don't count.
I don't count.
Yeah, you're different. But all these other ones.
It's
sitting
really
here-
just that simple.
So, I mean, you have yours, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he has his.
If anybody's looking to go to the, I think it's a 3 and 400, the Department of Corrections actually puts it on. Fantastic. I mean, hands down, one of the best courses I've ever gone to. And
Well,
it's dry material.
Isn't the 1, 2, 3, and 4 online?
No.
And then your 7 and 8 is actually class?
1 and 2 are online, but 3 and 4 are in person. It's a week long.
7 and 8 are online.
Yeah, 7, 8 are online. 1, 2, 7, 8, 75. I also have 124.
What did you say, they're a week long?
Yeah, the 3 and 400 is a week long. It's an in-person course. It's actually a very, very, very good course. And it's dry material.
And the Adams County
Department of
Correctional Facility does
Corrections,
that?
I can get you his number if they can actually come out and put it on. I was just with him at Shippensburg for the Mass Cas event last week. The DOT
But you
was-
probably have to have your 1 and 2s prior to the 3 and 4s.
I don't know if there's any.
It doesn't matter, there's no actual order.
I don't remember, but I mean, he'll come out here and put them on.
So I think the 1 and 2s are what, 45 minutes to an hour long online, I think is what they said.
They're just so
Yes?
dry.
Yeah.
They're just so dry.
So you did yours?
I've done them.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, they're just so dry.
Yeah, I know. Lose focus real quick. All right, so again, if you don't have these, and I'm speaking for myself, mine are way too old, so this stuff don't count no more. We have to get this stuff done, so back to school, Mr. Sante.
A few years since I've been through training like this.
So, okay. But again, Warren was very, very receptive to some of these outside companies, so it sounded like his tone changed a little bit, so.
Kind of relieved to hear that.
Yeah. He was very favorable that night. Maybe it's because of the meeting, I don't know. So. All right, is there anything else from anyone sitting here for this meeting tonight?
Real quick, have you been to the surplus lately?
Yeah, I was there. Oh my gosh. I was there 2-3 days ago.
Anything in there look worthy of being in the truck for gear?
There's always something there. I mean, let's just be honest, there's always something there. Right now, we have a good portion of stuff in that truck. We just didn't move forward with outfitting and pulling everything out until we had people on board. I think once we have that final number of, okay, this makes sense, we pull everything out and then look at what this thing needs to be outfitted. I mean, we have that modem in there, or that TV in there that hooks up to the computer. That does, it's just a matter of, we didn't go forward with pulling everything out and outfitting it because would it fit what we needed to? Sure. Is it gonna fit what Buchanan Valley needs it to be? Maybe. So we wanted everybody's input then at that point. We sort of pumped the brakes and said, if we're gonna do this as a team, we're not gonna throw what we need at it because it may be different than what you may.
So question to you on that, so when we go to outfit this, are we thinking about maybe talking to all
I
the
would-
local
I
fire
would
departments
include every fire chief that there
Okay.
is to get input on.
within each one of us as jurisdiction?
If you walk away with 5 good ideas between the 10 departments or whatever it is, that's 5 good ideas they're the SME for that. This whole process was to not only make our job easier, but theirs. So if we can implement a couple things that might help them.
Are you
it's
gonna
not
be part of this task then?
It sounds like it, sounds like I'm getting tasked with it
Let me
right now.
rephrase that. So as part of your task.
Yeah,
All right. I mean, I just think that's wise that maybe some Saturday we try to meet or
Yeah,
some
if we
evening
can
with
do it all in one.
one location.
Yeah, and say, hey, here's what, and I know it's gonna be tough trying to get all the chiefs together at one time, and I get that, but the more that we can get input from them, it's gonna make our job easier and theirs. That's the whole thought process, is how do we make their job easier, because they're gonna have to utilize it at some point, and they're gonna want that comfort of, okay, I know that they have this in that truck. Where if I look at it, I'm not a firefighter. I don't go in houses and put things out, like, that's not what I do, so I don't have that subject matter expertise.
Right.
They do. Don't look at
Anyone
my
say-
guys.
I was just thinking, our job was to create the carnage, not clean it up.
Yeah.
32 years of that, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Is anyone sitting here part of the fire department? Dominic, you still run? Okay, so we have Dominic.
Yeah, so he would be the SME on that, 'cause
Okay.
I'm not.
Jeff, are you part of something? No? All right, so we'll get Cashtown, Buchanan Valley, York Springs, Harrisburg. Who else am I missing? Bakerville,
Hartsville.
Hartsville, Bendersville. Yeah, we got a lot.
I'm
That's what I'm
anticipating,
saying, is it's not gonna be the one size fits all, we're gonna need their input.
Right.
Like, okay, here's what makes our life easier, and we can hash that out in here, but what ideally would help make their life easier?
Right.
I don't know, a big whiteboard with, split it so they know what units are here with their manpowers, and they can look at it on a screen, great, we can do that. Okay, oh, well, somebody needs something else, okay, great, we can do that. Hey, I'd love to have every hazmat, book possible, okay, we can put a bookshelf, put hazmat, whatever. I don't know. Hey, I'd really like to have a fridge because it's 900 degrees, we can do that, we have a spot that we could make something like that happen. We just didn't want to outfit it ourselves as Tyrone,
Right.
because it may not work for
Okay.
you guys, so.
All right, so it sounds like our next
But there is a
meeting,
lot of stuff in that truck that,
we need to set up a
needs to-
meeting with all the fire departments, so.
I'm anticipating as the conversation goes through each township on ownership, that the follow-up conversation is going to be how much to outfit it.
correct, exactly.
So I just kind of a ballpark of what that's gonna take to, again, I'm sure people are gonna have that conversation, wanna know, but
Sure.
under your thought and vision there, it's tough to make that call until we know what people want.
It is, we filled up the entire back of that truck at the federal surplus warehouse, and we bought a ton of it, like exterior lighting, because we know that you might operate at night and you may need to be able to see, right? So it has exterior lighting, but we also have plug-in exterior lighting that can build a perimeter so you can actually work if you have a table out. And the only reason we're looking at that aspect is kids get lost at night, right? As much light as you can bring in, someone's gonna see it, you want kids to focus, things like that. There is that big TV that we had gotten that we'll have to hook it on the wall somehow, that hooks to a computer, that's where the internet comes in, where a chief could sit down, when they had the old CAD system where it would show you your live incidents, that was our thought process then, was they could log on live incident, click units and show everything
Right
that's
there,
there, right? They took that away, they're
Yeah.
supposed to be coming back with something new.
Yeah.
We'll
not there
see.
yet.
But it's easy for a chief then, who's
Right.
running that operation with you, to go click, and it goes, populates with who, what, where, when, why, and how is there.
Right, you're not dependent on your dispatcher. to tell you
Exactly,
everything,
exactly.
so-
You don't have to tie it up and keep asking, and
Okay.
JR, do you need input from fire companies in municipalities that are not going to participate in the truck?
I don't think so.
What for department would that be? You mean a municipality or a fire department?
The fire departments. You mentioned all the fire departments.
So it sounds like you're saying is
So-
if a township denies moving forward, does that fire department have say in?
Yes,
Is what it
that's what
sounds
I'm
like the
saying.
question is.
I would say yes, because that truck may still end up on that scene for some reason. If county asked you to respond to that truck, you're gonna respond to that truck,
That's gonna be,
no matter what.
I don't know about that. Because the cost to outfit it to,
What are you-
that
Is there a
Fire
township that's
department's
thinking it's
taste
not
is
gonna jump on board with
not
this?
gonna be funded by the
Or you guys
municipality.
change your mind?
We haven't had follow-up discussion.
Right.
We haven't. I'm hopeful that Warren's advocation of this thing helps.
Okay.
I am. I'm not going to air Franklin Township business here in front of everyone. We will continue to have those discussions. I know there's been some pushback from certain fire departments on it. I mean,
Some, not all, some.
this is a remote skiff, which is something I operated out of every time I was, deployed. We had one.
It's exactly what it is.
It is, and it's just mobile. That's all it is. It serves the exact same purpose. And again, my background and training, this makes perfect sense to me. Others without that background don't see it.
That's right,
So,
exactly.
It's a good analogy. I didn't
Right,
really-
and that's why we rely on Chris for that. I mean, he's been there, he's done that numerous times, so. And again,
Ready to do it
Warren
again,
mentioned,
Chris?
What's that?
mobile
Try
units.
to get ready to do it
So-
again.
I have to lose a couple pounds, but I'm ready. You know what I mean?
Okay. So it sounds like we got some work. Jeff's gonna work on outfitting the deputies, getting badges, getting identification for everyone. Dominic and Josh is gonna work on trying to set up something for fire departments and also seeing what else may be needed so we know how to respond from there. I mean, I'm willing to help with that, but you just have to let me know.
Now it's just gonna be fact gathering. of,
Right.
Okay, what makes
So-
sense?
I think once everybody gets through their meetings, so I'm gonna say probably 2 months, we'll definitely know for
Hopefully
sure
by the next
before-
time they've completed that and
Right,
have feedback.
so. I think Biggerville only meets once a month, so their meeting's already done. Everybody else's is coming up, right? Ours is Thursday, yours is
Next week.
next week,
Monday.
Monday. Yeah, so most of us sitting here be able to discuss this. We're not guaranteeing you're gonna have a 100% answer, but between now and our workshop, we'll probably have something. So, okay. That's great communication tonight. Thanks, guys. Anything else from anyone sitting here? Any questions? Any concerns? Okay, and even if you guys think of something after the fact, please email it out. Hit that group in the email and let us see that. So we do check our emails. It's difficult some days, right? So,
After the 150 at work.
yeah. All right, when do we want to think we should be meeting again? What's Nate, not at least till August,
I'm
August,
just thinking
September?
Q3, yeah.
That way it gives you time to get through your meetings, get through some vacations.
And Tuesday nights early in the month still work best for everybody, right?
Seems
Let me
like
see if I can't find a couple of dates here.
on Wednesday night.
I'm sorry, Wednesday night.
Yeah, me thinking it was Tuesday too, so.
Sorry.
Where do we want to go next? Butler? Haven't been there for a while, so. Going to Dominic's house.
County, but we'll do it.
What's that?
Worst meeting room right now in the county, but we'll do it.
We don't care. We just like to bounce around everyone.
Look at September 4th.
That'll work, for me at least.
That'll be the first Wednesday. I got something on there
Oh, I see the
already.
rest of that.
Just
Hold
some
on.
checks. I'll have that.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm going the week of the 9th, so. September 4th? Work for everyone? September 4th at Butler,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. Hopefully no torrential downpours and rain like tonight.
I'm surprised they haven't deployed me to storm yet, to be honest with you.
Well, it wasn't no wind or nothing. Wasn't serious lightning. but- Okay,
I'm relieved.
anything else? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn till September?
Public participation,
Oh, I'm sorry,
if you don't
yes
mind.
ma'am.
I just have a couple questions because one of the concerns I've had, and it piqued my interest, that we don't get a lot of information about NAREMA at our township meetings. And
And you're from what township?
Huntington.
Huntington,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And the thing is, and I know the meetings have been kind of sporadic, like, but I did speak with Mr. Smith, because I couldn't find out, I had to find out almost to the day that it was canceled, the last meeting. So I'd like to find out, where is it listed for these meetings? We have intergovernmental agreement, and it's an agency, it's a public meeting, but yet Franklin, I looked on your website, and I looked on ours, and there's no mention of this public meeting. So it sounds kind of secretive to a resident.
It's,
And it's not, but
It's not secretive, and you gotta understand too, this is not a actual voting board. Like, we'll vote on small items like this because we're a joint unit, but you heard, this all has to go back to each municipality to vote on at their board of supervisors meetings to move forward on things. So we're not an actual voting board to be able to actually make major motions. I mean, there is an agreement made up and drafted between all 7 municipalities as part of this. But again, the only things that we'll vote on here is to give permission to Jeb to move forward on something, or for Josh and them to move forward looking at things. But then when that comes back, then we have to take it to each one of your townships to actually get the actual votes. Even though there's 2 supervisors sitting here from Franklin, we can't make that actual vote the same way with
Right.
Huntington here. They cannot. Manalapan can't when there's 2 of them here. Butler can't. So, like I said, we can't make major decisions.
so it's just an agency.
It's just an agency.
Okay.
It's
All
just a
right.
board, not an agency. It's a board.
It's a board.
NAREMA, correct.
Okay.
Okay?
And you speak about deputies. What are their roles as deputies, and what is the number of deputies that are available for an emergency?
Like Mr. Smith just answered, there's 6 of them right now.
There
active.
are 6, and the job descriptions are detailed in PEMA regulations.
Right, we follow the PEMA guidelines and regulations on what they're to do. They're to assist him on whatever's scene. If he's not available to get there, then a deputy, right now we have a deputy from each township representing from each township. Am I correct on that?
We have some openings.
We have an opening?
We do.
Okay. Mr. Hollaballs?
He's gone.
Okay. So,
but I think he's sort of helping.
so normally there's a representative deputy from each township. So if there is an incident in one of our townships, you're hoping that that deputy can respond along with Mr. Smith, since he's the.
And those are volunteers?
Everyone, yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Everyone
Everything associated with this board is,
Right.
with this agency, yeah.
okay.
All of
Because-
your meetings are listed on our upcoming meeting, on our agendas. Anytime
Correct.
they have a meeting scheduled, we have it on our agenda, and Paul makes a report after he's been there.
But that's what I mean. I had to find out. I called originally, who was, Mr. Smith, who was the, prior to Franklin taking over, Susan taking over that position, who was the other? That was Biglerville?
Biglerville Borough.
I called Biglerville, and she goes, I know nothing about a meeting and stuff, you have to call Mr. Smith. So that's what I mean, this is a
Okay.
public, it's an agency, but there's public meetings, and why does a resident have to call to find out? And then I found out it, like a couple days before, oh, well, that meeting was canceled. And I would have been going to it. And I'm just trying to find out, why can't it be on each township's website?
That would go
If
on
I
our
remember
township.
right, the last meeting when it was canceled was abruptly for some reason. It wasn't
Yeah,
a normal occurrence.
That's correct. Right.
And that would be up to the
And
township.
we didn't even know until a day or
Right.
two before,
Yeah,
so.
it was kind of one-off.
I can't remember what went on, but there was something that
That was
bumped
me.
it out.
That was me. My job called me somewhere else, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think
What pays the
there was
bills,
a
I
lot-
go.
It doesn't matter what it
Yeah.
was, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you know, that last meeting was a very odd occurrence as far as I.
Correct.
We had two
Usually we
people
don't
show
cancel.
up here for it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and one was the newspaper.
Yeah.
And while I would say, when it comes down to that, that would be up to the township to post that. That's not for us to post on their website.
Yeah, I mean-
That's their control.
I mean, I guess we could start posting those on there, but again, looking at it as a non-really voting board, that's why it's really not probably posted, but we can
But you
start
have
doing that.
public meetings,
They're public,
right?
that's correct.
Just like planning commissions in each of the townships, et cetera. And it's difficult, like Pat had said, people, did they actually show up?
Yep.
And you get there, and say if I wanted to come to Butler, I'm driving to Butler, and I'm sitting there wondering, where is everybody? So it's,
You're the first time has anybody been here. Just
I
saying.
see that, quite frankly,
Yeah.
because it piqued my interest, because, like I said, this truck was purchased by Tyrone,
That's correct.
okay? It was not, and it seems like Then they came and said, well, we want all the townships to now chip in for this maintenance, et cetera. And it seemed to me that that decision was not made by the agents, by NAREMA. So,
That's correct. Again, that's why we just said here tonight, now everyone needs to take this back to their boards
Correct.
and vote if they want to move forward on this. Like, we could say no, Huntington could say no, but Manal and Butler, Bakerville, and Tyrone, and York Springs would say, yep, we're on board with it. Is that still going to say that that truck's not going to happen? No.
yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
very
mean, the
possible. That
truck's
truck's already there.
The truck's already owned, and the reason
And
the truck is,
Tyrone owns the truck.
yeah, we own the truck.
Tyrone Township owns the truck.
And the reason is because you have to have an EOC by FEMA law, and that's
Right.
our EOC. If you choose to not utilize the truck, you have to have your own EOC then.
Now, what is an EOC,
It's your
sir?
Emergency Operation Command.
Oh,
So
okay.
you're required by FEMA to have that. So
Mhm.
the reason is everybody here, like-minded, was conscientious of the taxpayer, and rather than having 12 different EOCs within 12 different organizations, we had one that was mobile and able to go to a scene, which is better for the taxpayer.
Mhm.
As opposed to one here, one there, one there, one there, one there, that may not meet the requirement.
And your OC could be this building right
Your
here.
EOC could be this building.
But, again, is that incident going to be within this building's location?
Correct. And
Most
on
of the
top
time,
of
no.
that, what
Like,
happens if
the
what
big
happens if a
incident
tree falls
at
on the
Collindale
Yep.
Egg Farm, that's not near a township building, so you want something that's able to go to that location, set up, and take charge, and those guys are there for multiple days, so.
And that's what I mean, when I talk to other residents, they're like, what's NAREMA, what is that about, and what are they talking about, a truck? And that's why it seems secretive, because it's public, and it's just, we would like, I think residents should be given information.
I
Like,
will gladly meet with you any given day to show you that truck, so you don't feel that it's secretive.
no, I'm just saying.
It's
that's
a
what-
big blue whale. It's
Yeah.
not-
Well, it's because
It definitely won't be secret.
the funds for it originate back at the township level, the municipality level.
Times a few
And
times.
so it's simply not secretive. I know in our township, we have a line item in our budget for this truck.
Right.
So, I mean, again, it's a public budget that's, advertised and then subsequently approved or modified before approval.
And again, each time there's something needs to be done, that township needs a vote.
Yeah.
Just for a simple purchase of equipment,
Yep.
we're gonna say, yep, we agree, we're gonna spend $1,500, which will be divided by 7. That's how that'll work. If all 7 go into it, or it would be 5, whatever, so. So yeah, it's on every township's, I mean, like you said, you bring it up at your meetings, we bring it up at our meetings because it runs as old
It's been on
business.
our agenda
So
the
it's
last
still on
few
your
meetings,
agenda, so it's on each township's agenda. It may
Right,
not
yeah.
just be a sole item that you're asking for, but yeah. And I think you said something about it was on a county website too, which we didn't even know
Well,
the
there
county even had the
was,
website.
Mr. Smith indicated, I had told him about the website, and he said, gosh, and it's a very simple website for NAREMA, but it just tells you, check with FEMA, check with this, and it's like, well, if they have plans for emergencies, where are they? Like, how do we know as residents what these plans are?
Each township will have, them. Each township has to have their own plans.
Yeah, there's,
Okay,
Like, well, whatever businesses are in each township,
Yeah.
that's what he's making sure that each township has those. They're in a file cabinet. You wanna come to Franklin, welcome to the file
Ours is in a
cabinet.
cabinet,
You can
too.
look at them, so,
You
yeah,
can read through 'em.
multiple ones.
okay.
Because, we gotta have them in there for Musselman's, we gotta
Right.
have them in there for Nash, you got them in there for
Franklin
railroad.
Township
you got
School, the
schools,
little school.
Right.
Yeah.
Any big business, like you said, small daycare is now required to have some type of plan if something would happen. So
Well,
yeah,
thank
each
you
township
for
has to have them. That's, and they're part of NAREMA because we're part of that group. But that's an individual township requirement,
Mhm.
okay?
All right, thank you.
Anything else? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Who made the motion and who seconded?
I second.
Motion's here.
Dominic first.
Okay.
He wants to home.
Chris is
I
fried.
do.
Huh?
Chris is fried.
Well,
I came a long ways for this meeting.
yeah, I bet you did.
I did.
Uh-oh, where'd you come from?
I came from